I'm Elise Orlowski, a senior video director here at Cramer.
And I'm Trip Underwood, a creative director at Cramer.
And at Cramer, we work with so many incredibly fascinating people from all over multiple industries.
We have so many great conversations, many that are just too good to keep to ourselves. So now we're sharing them with the world.
Right here from Cramer Studios.
This is Pivot Points.
Cut. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pivot Points. I'm Elise Orlowski, and today I'm actually really excited about this episode. I'm always excited about every episode, but today we get to talk about something I am super passionate about, and also which really fills my day-to-day at Cramer, which is video. Video at Cramer is something that we've always valued and invested in, and especially in the past 2 years, it's become more and more important, and it also has kind of transformed, much like events and other things that have transformed over these past 2 years. And today I'm very excited because I am joined by Scott Palmer, my boss. So I have to be on my best behavior today, but also one of our incredible video directors at Cramer.
Thank you. Thanks.
So to start it off, I'm curious, how have you seen video really transform while at your time at Cramer?
Yeah, it's I mean, we could talk about the technology, and that's a big part of it.
Which we should talk about, maybe a little later.
We should, yeah. I would say, honestly, the biggest transformation over the years that I've seen, been part of, has been kind of the accessibility of camera gear, software, editing software, and that's really kind of opened it up.
Yeah, because we used to have like huge like tape edit bays and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, and just the quality's gotten better over the years. We added real firepower with the animation department, so that's been a big deal. And now we're getting into other stuff, other technology, AR, Pixitope, interactive video, so all sorts of fun stuff.
So in terms of video, I feel like we've seen, especially in these past 2 years, video really transform, right? Like, I think we were doing a lot of like commercial work or like standalone videos, and now I feel like we're doing a lot of like marketing assets. I think it just like has really sprung up. Why do you think over the past 2 years, I think video has become like different and even more essential?
I think it's because going back to kind of the democratization of video and the accessibility of it for not only individuals out there, but also our clients, and the platforms available to them, free streaming platforms like YouTube and Vimeo and web-based stuff. It's just really become such an easy way. It used to be hard, but it's really easy now to get stuff published online. And there's really no restricting how much content you can produce. It's just it comes down to really having a plan, and video, where it used to be, I think, kind of seen as like, oh, we got to save up for this, we got to figure out how we want to spend money on this. It's become more of a routine, It's,
even a necessity.
It's a total necessity, and there's not a client out there that isn't using video right now. And we've been able to help them sort of figure out the best way to do it. I'm always saying we got to make a plan for it. It used to be more tactical, but now it's being integrated in, marketing campaigns. It's a big part of product launches. It's a great visual tool.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I feel like now, like with one shoot that we do, it gets spread out through like so many different like content media platforms now. Like we're making one standalone video, but that's also being used for like social media, for like Instagram, now TikTok, YouTube. Like we're really like spreading out the content too. So it's nice to see how like you can also, film one thing, but also be able to like spread it out into the event, the marketing strategy, even like the post-marketing strategy as well, which is very interesting.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Yeah, and it's also too, I'm finding that because of the importance of video and social media for clients nowadays, it's not unusual for them to have somebody on their team that just focuses on that part of it.
Yeah.
So that's great to have them involved in the conversations early on.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I know I want to talk about a lot of things, but I think the first thing is, why do you think that being a video director at Cramer is like very different than being a video director at like a different agency? I feel like we cover so so many things.
Yeah.
But I'm curious on your perspective of like, how do you feel like it's different than other
So
things?
I've been other places before, and I think the big difference for me is the accessibility of the people here. It's kind of unusual to have writers, producers, designers, animators, editors, the production team, all in one place. So that's been an incredible kind of opportunity to tap into different brains.
Totally.
And the thing that really struck me about Cramer when I first started was even the nature of the space itself. There's so much stuff to play with here. And we've always embraced a spirit of creative R&D.
Yeah.
Which is that if we want to try something new, we can come in the studio, we can set stuff up, we can do screen stuff.
Which we've done a lot.
I've experimented on things that ended up being stuff that we've done for clients. So,
yeah.
And it's kind of unique in that way. There's not really, I can't think of another place that you can do that. And that, that's what it's kept me interested and excited.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was like a year and a half ago when we just put in the LED walls and we did that whole shoot. Just like experimenting with the LED walls.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was practical because we wanted to see how the lights would interact with the screens and to see if we could pull off sort of a semi-realistic.
Oh, totally.
Brought the smoke machine in, the wind, the turbo fan, and we just had a blast.
Yeah. But that was really cool too, because I feel like I used like everything that we did that day.
Yeah.
I used a lot of that knowledge to be able to create. When I couldn't shoot in 4 locations at once, I shot in here.
Yeah.
Or even I think on a lot of events, we did a lot of stuff where we were able to like use the LED walls and use the space. Again, all out of that kind of R&D day. So it's fun to be able to like
those are the type
like
of those are the type of things that just reignite your imagination, and it's just a cool aspect.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's cool too, because I think being at Cramer, like you're a video director, but I think we also make content for like big LED walls. We're doing like, I just did this like opening experience with dancers, but it's also like animation and video. So I think we get to kind of like flex our theatrical muscles as well, or experiential. I don't know. We get to kind of just do more than the 16:9 screen as well, which is fun.
And there's something too, even about that is the idea that we get to see our stuff up on a screen in front of an audience is rewarding.
Yeah.
It nourishes that, the ego side of, you want people to see your stuff, and doing stuff online is great too.
Oh, totally.
Of course, but having something play at a big event and getting the audience's reaction in real time is kind of special. Yeah.
I love that. So what do you think are like the common misconceptions about video production in general? I feel like there's a lot, but
there's some, and some of it's true. I mean, it's expensive, it's time consuming, we don't have time to plan this. And some of that is true. Those are valid points. But nowadays, like it's more about like go back to planning. There are ways to take this thing, which used to be, the cost of entry to do a video years ago might have been prohibitive for some clients.
Totally.
But now it's just like we can shoot it on our phones. I don't recommend that all the time, but it's an option. So there are ways to do things less expensively. There are ways to, if you plan for it, there are ways to get more out of the content.
Absolutely.
And there's ways to be efficient about it too. So that's the key, just going back to getting involved in the planning part of it early on. So when our clients are discussing maybe the marketing plans for the year and how they're going to spend their money, also getting involved and having a seat at the table early on is helpful, because we can be more tactical and strategic about it.
Totally, yeah.
Looking ahead and looking for places where we can amplify some of their campaigns and messages, and essentially just program video into the marketing calendar for the year.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting too, because I think being able to like kind of be in that conversation for strategy early on is great, but I think even in my experience, I think really like putting that work in ahead of time, like in pre-production. I'm a big fan of like storyboarding everything out, like being able to really communicate and really plan ahead so that by the time you come to post and like everything's already decided and like you can flex from there and be able to like create more content, but also like you spend a lot less time in post-production, which is always good. And then I have had some clients who are like, whoa, this is exactly what the storyboard looked like.
That's
like
good.
this is really cool. And I'm like, that's why we spend that time up front so that we can kind of pay it off and spend less time in post.
Yeah.
So, and also being able to like work with strategy and being able to like really plan that out as well.
You do great storyboards too. I've seen them.
So
Yeah.
It's like all my
You
years
can
of
draw.
art school
You can
paid
draw.
off.
Yeah. And you don't have to. It doesn't even have to. It can be a sketch, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that sort of gets forgotten.
Totally.
And I'm like notorious. I don't, you know, I'll just go do it. I've done it for so long that sometimes I'm like, I don't really need a storyboard, but it's always beneficial.
Oh, yeah. And it helps you think it out too. So
Yeah.
I definitely agree. We're not just doodling. We're planning ahead.
I do a lot of that too. Yeah.
What do you find like are the most exciting advancements that you've seen in video production? I know we kind of touched on the LED wall, but what are some things that you've been seeing that like you're really excited to either learn more about or even just dive into?
Yeah, there's stuff that like I'm loving. Cameras are getting smaller, better. The sensors are better. Stuff looks more like film, you know, traditionally. The color correction capabilities are better. Computers are faster. Render times are going down, so we can do more stuff in real time. I'm excited about like camera stabilization technology, like the DJI stuff, the Ronin, Movi, and I just think that we got something recently. It's for one of our smaller cameras, but it's a handheld stabilizer, and it looks great. It fits right in, and it's something that you can kind of bring onto a shoot kind of last minute. It can be an add-on, and it doesn't take one person running around. It looks beautiful. The other thing I'm excited about too is motion tracking software.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's so true.
That is integrated into the camera system itself.
Yeah.
So we've been using, as you know, because you worked on a couple of projects with Pixatope and Unreal Engine. And I think that's going to get better.
Yeah, digital, like virtual
production. Virtual production, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that stuff.
Yeah, virtual production is really cool. And it's really interesting to see even where we could go, even from an event standpoint in that, and just being able to like bring people like as avatars into different worlds and being able to really combine, I think, the gaming and video production space. It's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have some great 3D capabilities here. We're creating immersive environments, and one of our animators is really taking advantage of everything that the Unreal Engine can do. And
Unreal 5 is crazy. It's amazing.
It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. So getting back to more of like the marketing, I think, and strategy side of it, what are like some key things that you feel like you like always like to tell clients when thinking about a campaign strategy for video? Like do you find like are the key questions or the key points that you try to figure out before you start actually like ideating creative? Yeah.
Part of it is doing our homework up front, really digging into what they're doing already, going online, seeing where their videos are playing, how they're doing, what their user community is, how they're engaging with the video content, and looking at, all the channels too, like, cause they're putting video on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. So everybody's doing everything.
Right.
So that's good. But again, without a really well thought out plan, I think that can just be like, you're just putting stuff up and you can't do that. So what I like to do is look online, see what they're doing, but also see, are they missing anything? Is there any content? Are there gaps? Are there things like, some of our clients do an amazing job. Like they'll have content that kind of fits what I was inspired years ago by the YouTube Creators Playbook. And they had a very well thought out plan for how to create content, how to start a YouTube channel. So I use some of that philosophy, meeting with clients and talking about their video planning and content plan.
Like how content kind of builds on itself.
Right.
It's not just standalone things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And creating content for different levels of audience engagement. Like some people may not know about what your company does.
Right.
And so how do you not give them almost too much information? You know, and that would be sort of the top tier, the hero video. So it's really just more of an emotional appeal. Kind of communicates, you know, what your brand stands for.
Sure.
And it's really the introductory piece of content. So there's that stuff, and then as you go down, you get into stuff that's a little bit more, a little more detailed, right? So we're talking about product stuff. We're talking about, the essentially what services and products the company is providing, and why they're different and why they're good, and then. If that mix is, if there's anything missing in there, it's like, let's talk. Let's figure out how we can make this a more complete playlist. So we like to look at things like playlists and really just kind of assess, like, do you have the right mix of content? Are you missing something? Is there a part of your audience you're not communicating to? So yeah.
And I think that's a really good point, because I think what I try to tell clients a lot too is that, like, we're kind of the fresh eyes when viewing your brand. Like a lot of people that we're working with, they're in their brand every day. They have like a very laser focused, detail focused, perspective of their brand. But I think what's great about, being able to collaborate with creatives and also strategists is being able to be like, we have the fresh perspective. Like, we don't think that this is as important as this, or I don't think this is, as effective as it could be, or we don't really need to know about this. We really just need to have like those hero points and stuff. So I think it's a good opportunity just to be able to really collaborate. And I think even these past 2 years, I think we've been able to do that even more because video's gone up so much and become so much more important. But also being able to, I think, just have that fresh perspective and be able to tell things in like a clean, clear, and like creative way.
Right.
So.
Right. And also too, like it's this, even things like scheduling content releases so that there's a tempo to delivering content online. Because if, the worst thing would be have a successful video program or series and the audience is clamoring for more, and then you've got this gap of, we all see it with the shows that we love. Sometimes you got to wait 2 years until the next season comes out.
Totally.
It's the same with corporate content that we create as well. So, yeah.
So I know you've done a lot of fun things here, obviously, but I really want to hear about that one interactive, like, choose your own journey experience that you did. I'm just curious, like, what kind of went into that, and like, how did that kind of come off? If you could just tell us a little bit more.
Sure.
About that.
Yeah. No, I think we were. The inspiration came from a Black Mirror episode.
Oh, the Bandersnatch.
Yes. Yeah. Which was very cool, and it worked really well. I think it worked when you're remote. But we did a project. The client was interested in audience interaction. So this is going to be played at a live event, and there would be physical buttons that you would pick to make choices.
So fun.
Yeah, and honestly, the planning that went into it was intense.
Yeah.
If you could see the document, it looked like an
a
org
big,
chart.
like,
Right.
like a big family tree.
Right. It starts
like,
here and ends
timelines.
up. I think that we had. I think ultimately there were 8 different potential outcomes.
Okay.
It was a fairly simple story.
Which is actually not that many, but also is like a crazy amount of planning.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it was really like kind of piecing the puzzle together, but it worked out really well.
Yeah.
It worked out well. And we did 2 of them.
Right.
And we took some of the things that we learned the first time around and applied them the second time. And it worked out really well. It was actually really smooth. It seemed, if you looked at it, you would say like, oh my gosh, this is so complicated.
Yeah.
How are we going to pull this off? But it's still, it's linear storytelling with this layer of interactivity on top of it.
Yeah.
You could string it out and you could look at the whole thing from end to end. And I think it was like all the content together for like the experience maybe took 8 minutes. But the amount of finished content we ended up with, I think, was 45 minutes. So if you watched everything and you did it every time, that's how long it would take to watch it. And the interactivity was actually pretty simple. We figured out a way to make it work with PowerPoint ultimately.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So it's I want to do more of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun. Yeah.
So I know that we don't have much more time, even though I feel like we could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
But what do you think something that you're seeing right now, whether in film, TV, or experiential, that like you'd really like to incorporate into like more video work that you're working on?
What would I like to incorporate? I don't know. You know, I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah.
What? I was going to say, like,
I can go.
live animals?
Love
Maybe?
animals.
Live animals? Like,
Live animals on set.
yeah.
Instead of.
I haven't done that yet.
Didn't you have a guinea pig in one of your?
Oh, I did. Yeah, that's
but
true.
like big animals.
No, I think just more cinematic stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I love shooting on location. It's great to be in the studio. I want to do more of this sort of XR, extended reality stuff.
With that
like,
lady
I think
wall,
we're just dipping our toe into that.
Totally.
I'm excited about, we're talking about doing more stuff with Pixitope, which is you know, the camera tracking software. So yeah, that stuff's exciting. Yeah. Bigger, better stuff.
Yeah. And I agree. I think
faster. Right.
Faster, more.
Right.
But I think even just being able to get back out on location, being able to film things like with the story again, and being able not to have to be contained to remote filming and all that kind of stuff. I think that's just exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's here to stay, because there's an ease to it, regardless of, you know, the situation in the world. I think there's
an organic creativity
but I am so thankful to be able to go do shoots on location and work with actors and you know, really, you know, craft scripted content, which is really nice. Yeah, and also not having to, you know, tell people how to adjust their camera on their laptop, and
it was helpful. And we became experts at it. But
we're good at it. Yeah.
Being able to do it far and few between is nice.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, Scott, I always appreciate your wisdom. It's always nice to be able to talk to you.
Yeah.
And be able to talk to you on camera right now. It's been great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And as always, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Pivot Points. We actually do have a video strategy ebook that we're going to link to the bottom of this video. And as always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.